guess what I just saw? And yeah, it was pretty awesome. And unfortunately, since you know that I'm not particularly good at getting videos out very quickly, I thought I'd just come right out and tell you my initial thoughts on Halloween from 2018. Now, here's the thing that you should remember. The trailer is decent, but there was something about it that was worrying me. So good. When it comes to movies about people trying to recapture their former careers, which, let's face it, some people, including myself, had gotten that thought that maybe this was just her trying to go back to her roots, which I'll admit there's evidence to say that that's not such a bad idea for Laurie Strode to be brought back with Jamie Lee Curtis, because, let's face it, Halloween H20 was awesome, and Resurrection was shit. I think anyone can agree with that. Busta Rhymes fans suck a dick. So, here's the thing. We've seen what was it? It was the last Indiana Jones film, and that was a senior citizen trying to be a badass. We've seen Taken, and where that went. And let's just say it's not looking promising for movies where you've got a very how do I put this nicely? Screw it. If you got really old people, know that I still love Jamie Lee Curtis. I think she is awesome, and that she would do this. It was amazing. But she's playing a grandmother in this film, and her granddaughter is a teenager, so it's okay to say she's kind of old, okay? The less PC way to put it is that she's an old crone, or an old bird, but let me tell you something, old bird doesn't quite describe it. She is a frickin' pterodactyl. Ancient or not, she will kill you. Please don't kill me, though. But I was thinking that maybe this was not going to be that good because Michael and Laurie have aged quite a bit. Now here's the thing. It seems that the filmmakers understood a lot of the original Halloween, and maybe even the sequel that picked up right where that left off. And I think they were just trying to put this all to bed with one last hurrah with 3 generations of the Strode family fighting Michael. Which, honestly, when you say that out loud, it's pretty awesome. And when you see it in theaters, it's pretty awesome. They do put a little bit of focus on the teenagers, and you know, I thought they would be more annoying, but actually they were well written and likable. I mean, yeah, some of them have flaws, but then again, teenagers in a horror film. I mean, that goes without being said that there's going to be some kind of character flaws with them. The idea that I don't want to strangle all of them and actually didn't want them to just die outright is really a sign of approval from me for the writing in this film, because holy shit, how many times are we going to see a horror film with teenagers that we just want to die and we're just watching the clock until they do? So, yeah, good on them for getting that right. I had a 9:45 showing, and it's just past noon right now, so I was surprised that it was even showing that early. But damn, it was cold in that theater. I know this movie takes place in October, and it's supposed to be cold, but damn it, we don't need that kind of immersion. Speaking of cold, Laurie is friggin' cold when it comes to firing that gun off. She is ready. She's got a small arsenal of weapons, a house that was built with barricades that come down at the push of a button to lock off rooms, so Michael just can't roam around at his leisure. Has a shooting range, as you saw in the film. She also has a big chain link fence that it's it's essentially a prison gate that she's got around her property. Huge spotlights to check and see where he's coming from. She really went all out, and so did the filmmakers, and there's some surprises in here that I was kind of thinking in the back of my mind, you know what they should do? And they did. It's always one of those things where you don't want to give it away because it's fun when you see it, but you always think, you know what they should do? But they're not going to do it, then all of a sudden, they did it! Holy shit! That was awesome. I can't tell you what it is. Because I have to watch the movie. So, that can be a little fun with that. Yeah, I'm kind of going a little bit all around the place, but okay, so let's just wrap it up. The property that is shown in the trailer is Lori's house. That's not where her entire family lives. It's where she lives in isolation, and there's this backstory where she has not gotten over the events of there. And unlike Resurrection, where she tried to rebuild her life and become someone, and only one... no, not Resurrection, H20. Oh, don't get those two confused. Sorry. Still a little early, I guess. Dang it. She tried to rebuild her life in H20 and move on. It was only like one day a year that she really got antsy and scared. Here she is 24/7 scared and waiting and preparing for the one day that would surely come. This day. And she really went all out with security, but it also broke up her family because her daughter was living in that kind of paranoia. She was raised in paranoia, which led to them being estranged when Child Protective Services took her away. Her name's Karen, by the way. You'll come to like her. Well, you can't really blame her. Her mother has been spending the last 40 years preparing to kill a man that may or may not get out of prison. So, and she didn't know when it would happen. She just knew it would happen. And she actually wanted it to happen so that she could end him. So this is a very different Laurie Strode from the one we've seen before. Karen is the kind, considerate mother, but kind of... she's a bit protective of her own daughter. And I can't blame her for that. I can't remember the daughter's name, but she's cool. She's intelligent. She wants a stable relationship, but men are pigs. Horror film, again. The fact that you like the pigs is something to be said. I did like some of those Halloween costumes. In fact, you'll see that there's a mask from Halloween 3 that one of the kids is wearing because he's going as a skeleton, and he's clearly got that mask on. But it was kind of fun seeing the granddaughter going as, well, she and her boyfriend went as Bonnie and Clyde, but there's a bit of a twist to it. Which, okay, you can watch the movie and find out for yourselves, but it was fun. That Halloween dance was awesome, though it did look like the disc jockey was jerking off Frankenstein, because they got Frankenstein laying on the table, and of course his hands are right where the crotch is. Great filmmaking there, people. And unlike having the cell phone not work in the film, it actually gets disposed of at one point, so don't be thinking, oh, the phone's not working now. No, there's something else with that. Again, teenage drama, but then again, it's kind of what happens. In fact, there was teenage drama in the first film, so you gotta expect that. I'm still going all over the place. But Mother and her husband, her husband is one of those. He's one of those guys that's kind of funny, kind of not funny. You know, he's trying to be some kind of comic relief or something. Not coming off well. And the moment he said, I know taijutsu, or whatever it was, it's like he's trying to say he can defend himself. You know how many damsels in distress said that they could defend themselves, only to become a damsel in distress? That man marked himself as a victim from the moment he said that. And speaking of victims, I'd have to say that the dumbest part of this movie happens early, where there's a boy with a hunting rifle whose father happens upon the bus. That's how it initially gets discovered. And I won't say what happens, but I will say this kid is an absolute idiot. I was kind of glad to see him die. Sorry to say. Now, let's focus on the one you're really curious about. Michael. He is scary. He has the same motives and ways of moving around, and the camera work is great. You never really see his face clearly. You never get a good solid shot on it, like the first one had at the end. But you do see bits and pieces of it. Not enough to really see what he exactly looks like. You'd have to like pause the movie and see, or look on IMDb and find out what the actor looks like. I like that. I like that they don't show his face, because that's not his real face. We know what his real face is. And those people with the mask, yeah, we don't get a lot of them. Just a little bit, but they're kind of boring. Also, Michael has a new psychiatrist, which he plays a pretty major role in this film, but not the kind you would think. What I will say is, it seems like anyone that tries to analyze Michael's psyche becomes completely obsessed with him, to the point that they are getting psychotic. And we know that with Loomis. And his new psychiatrist, he's a bit psychotic himself. Now, Michael himself, the shots of him not just hiding his face, but when he gets his mask, the shots that go like right at waist level and follow him as he's moving, that's really good, because I do get kind of annoyed when everyone's always got that behind the head shot. Seeing things from that perspective down below. I don't remember getting a point of view shot. I don't think I had any POV shots, but having the camera right at waist level, there's something about that. It's almost like you're not in his mind. You're more like the weapon or something, or maybe it's even, I don't know, it's just something about that. It's almost like his hands are the only kind of thing that gives any emotion. And it's like you can see him thinking through his hands. It's an interesting idea, and watch the film, you'll probably notice it too. Surprised a psychiatrist never thought of that. Instead of having him say something, why didn't you give him a pencil and a pad of paper? Maybe he would tell you everything. Oh well. But yeah, the shots range from following alongside him at waist level to just by his side and slightly back, to a shot being held and watching events unfold. And it's not one of those that holds your hand. It gives you hints of what's going on, gives you a little bit of detail, and you can fill in the rest, so it's allowing you to think during the movie and not taking away that It's not treating you like an idiot. It's not forcing you to see everything. It's actually making you think, where is he? What's he doing? Will he come in through? And when you get a little hint, you can pick up from there as to what's going to happen and then watch what unfolds. It's not holding your hand through the whole thing, ironically, because the camera practically is wanting Michael to hold its hand. A lot of scenes are played out in a new way in this film. They're given its own kind of spin. There's more intelligent decisions that are made. And as it should be, the conflict between Laurie and Michael comes to a head with those two fighting, and it's awesome. They really go at it. Now, there was a few points where I could tell, okay, there's definitely a stunt double for Jamie Lee Curtis, because there's no way her head's getting knocked against the wall. It was a little too stiff, but give them points. The fact that they were even trying to suggest that Laurie was getting beaten like that is pretty awesome, at least for the standpoint of her being tough. Man, is she tough. And I'm glad that they dissolved that image of her being vulnerable. She is now fighting for her family and for everything that she's lost. And people could probably blame her obsession on herself, but there's something otherworldly about Michael. So you can't completely blame her for this. And I'm just going to say, final thoughts, the movie was awesome, well worth the watch. Looked great, acting was great, writing was great. It pays homage to past films and is a great send-off for the Halloween series. I don't want to see any more. I feel like this should be the definitive end for the series, the franchise as a whole. We've seen Rob Zombie's reboot. We've seen sequels that went in all kinds of different directions. We had Halloween 3, which was very cool. And we've had our ups and downs with the series. It's time to end it, people. And this is a great note to end on. So, I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you in the next review, whenever that will be. See ya.